face further uncertainty, Boris Johnson loses support for Brexit deal. Brexit was as soon as once more thrown into chaos on Tuesday, after Parliament first voted to assist Boris Johnson's withdrawal deal in precept. However then, minutes later, rejected his fast-track timetable for passing the mandatory laws. The yes-no end result implies that Johnson possibly will not be capable to ship on his do-or-die promise to get Britain out of the European Union by the 31st of October. Whether or not Brexit can be postponed by days or perhaps weeks or months remained unclear. Within the Home of Commons on Tuesday night, lawmakers first signalled they did like Johnson's new Brexit deal, roughly, even grudgingly, by a vote of 329 to 299. That was a momentary victory for Johnson, the primary time a British Prime Minister's withdrawal plan has gotten a parliamentary nod, after repeated defeats within the Home of Commons. Duly famous. However then Parliament voted, 322 to 308, towards Johnson's demand that lawmakers take solely 3 days to learn, scrutinize and amend the 110-page laws. So now we face further uncertainty, Johnson stated after that vote. Ominously, as a transparent menace, the Prime Minister warned that his authorities would instantly step up preparations to go away the European Union with no deal on the finish of October. However, that may very well be a bluff. Johnson additionally stated, one way or another, we will leave the EU with this deal, to which this House has just given its assent. Johnson additionally notably omitted any point out of an election in his remarks after the vote, although earlier within the day he instructed that rejecting his timetable would imply with great regret the bill will have to be pulled and we will have to go forward to a general election. Following the vote, he instructed extra modest steps ahead. He stated he would pause additional Brexit debate in Parliament and wait till the EU responds to Britain's request for a delay. Johnson, who beforehand stated he'd rather be dead in a ditch than ask European leaders for an extension, was on Saturday by legislation required to request one, till the tip of January. European FI President Donald Tusk stated Tuesday night time that he would advocate that the opposite 27 EU leaders settle for that request. EU leaders are more likely to confer early subsequent week, whether or not in particular person or remotely remains to be unclear, and they'll most likely provide an extension till the tip of January, with possibility for Britain to depart earlier if it has accepted the deal within the meantime, stated diplomats aware of the discussions. Earlier than Tuesday's votes in Parliament, Johnson argued that pace was of the essence. Let's get it performed. Decelerate, warned the skeptics. The British economic system is at stake. Lawmakers complained they've been being requested to approve laws that they had not had time to scrutinize, nor, in lots of circumstances, even learn. The federal government revealed its withdrawal settlement invoice. The laws wanted to enact the Brexit deal that Johnson negotiated with the EU, on Monday night. That was the primary likelihood anybody needed to lay eyes on it. Johnson needed it sorted in 72 hours. Woodsmeat, a Labour lawmaker who backed the deal in precept however voted towards Johnson's fast-track timetable, stated, all we're asking for is the opportunity to ensure that the deal that was only presented to us last night works for our constituents and works for my local economy. We need slightly more time. Labour chief Jeremy Corbyn claimed Tuesday's vote as a refusal by the Home of Commons to be bounced into debating a hugely significant piece of legislation in just 2 days, with barely any notice and an analysis of the economic impact of this bill. The Prime Minister is the author of his own misfortune, Corbyn made a piece providing, of reform. He supplied Johnson, work with us, all of us, to agree a reasonable timetable, and I suspect this House will vote to debate, scrutinize and I hope amend the detail of this bill. However, Corbyn's imaginative and prescient of Brexit, remaining carefully aligned with the EU and searching for a second referendum by the individuals to approve a deal, is anathema to Johnson. Lucy Powell, one other Labour lawmaker, stated that pausing Brexit feels like a very churlish reaction to what is a straightforward request for extra parliamentary time. Whereas lawmakers requested to press forward on Brexit, Home of Commons Chief Jacob Rees-Mogg informed them that they'd be debating the nationwide well-being service on Wednesday and the economic system on Thursday and never sit in any respect on Friday. Political analysts stated lawmakers weren't flawed to be involved concerning the 3-day interval Johnson proposed for the Brexit laws. Hannah White, Deputy Director of the Institute for Authorities, an impartial support tank, wrote in a put-up that the timetable proposed was deeply inadequate for a constitutional bill which makes probably the most significant changes to the UK's position in the world that the Commons has been asked to consider for decades. It is extraordinary, she wrote. The government must know this, but it is asking MPs to agree the timetable or be seen to be thwarting Brexit. Anyone who claims meaningful legislative scrutiny is possible on this timetable is, at best, misguided, she added. John Donge, a professor of politics on the College of Liverpool, expressed an analogous sentiment. It's an absurdly constrained timetable, he stated. There hasn't been a single economic assessment done yet, and the deal is significantly different from May's, when requested concerning the absence of a financial evaluation. Johnson stated the settlement could be a powerful positive shot in the arm for the UK economy. The deal seeks to go away the EU single market, diverge from EU customs regimes and tariff schedules and permit Britain to make its personal impartial commerce offers all over the world. The Johnson exit is a more durable Brexit than that envisioned by his predecessor, Theresa May. Johnson's deal additionally differs most markedly from May's over the vexing concern of Northern Ireland. His deal leaves a province rather more carefully aligned to the EU by successfully placing a border down the Irish Sea. Some lawmakers identified that Parliament spent months debating an invoice on how circus animals are handled. Different commentators in contrast passing Johnson's Brexit in 3 days to studying Tolstoy's phone book Thick War and Peace on the Bus Experience House. The Washington publisher's Michael Birnbaum in Brussels contributed to this report. Apart from the headline, this story has not been edited by a Herald publicist workers and is revealed from a syndicated feed. Please save trees and nature. Please subscribe my channel. Thank you. Face further uncertainty.